Ladies and gentlemen, warmly welcome to another episode of Shine Your Light, this incredible show that I am hosting, and Leah is joining me today again. So, today's topic is gonna be compassion. We're gonna explain our own experiences in connection with compassion and also guidelines and wisdom that we distilled from this lifetime and also other ones. So I'll invite Leah to say hello now, and then we'll play with these incredible compassionate energies.
Hello everyone, welcome to this show, Shine Your Light. I'm very glad to be here with all of you, to be here with Julian, to create this amazing show and talk about compassion. That is something that I truly feel in my heart.
Wonderful. I just felt like for the beginning of this conscious exploration, as I love to call it, we could all, if you feel it, of course, we could all place the hand on our hearts and take few soft, sweet, compassionate breaths together, just so we relax in this wonderful space of acceptance. And when you're consciously breathing, you don't force yourself with the breath. You don't have to think about how you breathe. You are invited to breathe with your whole being, that you breathe deeply, but softly at the same time, because you don't want to be forcing yourself with the breath, because breath, the compassionate breath, is a wonderful example of loving yourself by accepting everything without judgment. You simply breathe through it, through each and every emotion, through each and every thought, through each and every memory, through each and every physical pain, sensation. You see, compassion is acceptance. And conscious breathing, compassionate soul breath, is such a wonderful tool to connect you with your essence, with who you really are, beyond your limitations, beyond your ideas and identities, which can also be wonderful and glorious in this world. However, these moments that I wholeheartedly recommend to everyone, these moments are so wonderful when you're simply with yourself and allowing yourself to accept everything. If you start and finish your day with only 5 minutes of conscious breathing, your life is going to change sooner or later, probably sooner than later. So a few more soft breaths. And this was also the explanation, as much as I can give it to you from my perspective, about conscious breathing, which is very connected with compassion if we want it to be, and can be such an incredible tool because every being can breathe. And breathing, conscious breathing, is always available. I just want to add, because your mind might ask, how do I consciously breathe? Simply choose your safe space and that you're consciously breathing, and you already are consciously breathing. And also you can return into the space of this video where we are also shining the light and holding the energetic space for us and all of you, me together with Leah and other masters who are also present. Thank you very much for breathing with us. And now I will invite Leah to explain maybe a little bit more about conscious breathing and also connection with compassion, because she's also using it in her everyday life So she's able to accept things as they are and to open up into even deeper compassion for herself and life, exactly the same as I'm doing.
Yes, we've just, more than talk about compassion, we've just experienced compassion with this short breathing, conscious breathing. It's amazing how you start with 1, 2, 3 breaths, and then like everything already changes. You can already feel compassion blossoming little by little as you go with the breath. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to breathe through a situation, to accept that, because guilt and shame are very strong when we've just experienced something and we are like starting to feel guilt and shame. So we have to also breathe through that, because then it will start dissolving. If we give up because it is not working, then it will stay there. But we have to just keep going, and know that at some point you will start feeling that change as you go with breath by breath, always accepting everything you did or you said or whatever situation happened, because it is perfect, it is appropriate, and you can always choose new, and you can only have new in your life when you accept what already happened.
Thank you for this wonderful addition to what we shared at the beginning. It can be challenging. It can be challenging at first, because when you start opening up to the new you, to the new self, you also see your old limitations, things that trigger you, things that hurt you, and so on. And it's okay, you don't have to do it in one day. I would actually say it's impossible to do it in one day, at least in year 2022. We'll see about later. So it's just one day at a time, one breath at a time, one step at a time. Kind of like taking it easy in life, because when you slow down, you ironically sometimes actually speed up, because you're not trying to force it and push it through your mental way of functioning, but you're opening up to the consciousness, to your limitlessness. I love this expression that we are all limitless in our essence. It's just this dimension of earth that is making us feel like everything is a prison many times. And yeah, it can feel that way. And that's why we're gonna address compassion today so deeply and directly and openly, because compassion is the secret elixir. Although it's not secret, but for many it might seem, whoa, so compassion is the real answer. Yeah, if we would have to use one energy, one word from all the spiritual knowledge and from incredible explorations and experiences, I would point out compassion. There are a few others that I will also be exploring through other shows, but compassion would be the one that I would also choose as the most important, to be able to stay and play on this earth, on this planet, as the conscious. You can call yourself conscious being, enlightened being, simply the free being, whichever expression suits you. But in order to live and exist successfully and joyfully in this dimension of so many limitations, I would point out compassion as this secret ingredient, as this basic ingredient, because compassion is acceptance, at first self-acceptance, and acceptance of everything as it is. It doesn't mean you have to like the situation. It doesn't mean you have to love the situation at all. It doesn't mean you have to stay in such situation, or you have to stay in connection with some people if you really don't want to. It simply means that for your own peace and for your own balance, you accept everything in yourself and outside yourself, so to speak, without judgment. And now I will invite Leah to go further into this topic, because I feel like we created a magnificent pathway now to explore it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Compassion is really the key to stay on earth as an embodied master, or as someone that is doing this conscious exploration and embodying it and living it in their lives. Because the world is really going crazy right now. And if we look at things and we keep trying to change everything, it will hurt so much. And when we have compassion and accept that everything is part of an evolutionary process and everything is the way it should be, then it is when we can stay at peace with ourselves. But of course, to accept everything outside, we first need to accept it in ourselves. It always starts with us for everything. So that is, it can be a difficult task if you have this judgmental voice. Like we said in the last show, we are our biggest judges. I have been less and less as I grow into compassion, as I go deep into compassion. I have been letting this role as my judge behind, because it was no longer serving me. So with every experience, knowing that I am doing the right thing, that I am in the right place, that I am creating my life the way I know is the best for me, and the way that will be the less painful and less hard. It will be more flow, more smooth.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Compassion makes it all much softer. That's another attribute that I want to mention. Because the emotions of anger, sadness, regret, guilt, shame, fight, so many of them, victim roles, abuser roles, we are many things. You know, we are not just a singular human identity that we think we are at first. We are very multidimensional beings, and we will not go deeply into exploration of this in such shows. I'm simply mentioning it to all of you who resonate with it, and also to all of you who are new and would like to explore some more. There are some other possibilities and services that can help you mirror that, or you can simply go in yourself and explore your multidimensionality. Absolutely. You know, there is a funny story that I want to share with you, so we will kind of relax the energies even a little bit more. Today I was feeling into should I shave my beard or not, and then I've decided not to do it, because you see, with the beard I represent this compassion even more directly and tangibly, because so many times the enlightened gurus and people who are usually connected with such enlightened consciousness had these beards, you know? And there is, it's a funny thing, but it's kind of true. There is a pattern in the mass consciousness that many times connects enlightened, free self or consciousness, and compassion, which is part of it, with the bearded man. It's a funny story, but it's kind of also very true. Don't get me wrong now, it doesn't matter how you look, that's absolutely your choice. But I made it into such a lovely, beautiful story and decision. Maybe the beard, gives such warmth, just like when we are caressing an animal or a cat or a dog, it just feels, warm. And yeah, interesting point. Very interesting point. Also to make a distraction. Because there's one thing I want to share with you all, and I'm probably gonna go deeper into it in some other shows, but distract yourself. If sometimes some emotions, things are too hard, too difficult, sometimes even breathing doesn't help. And because when you're emotionally too overwhelmed, it's just hard. Sometimes you can breathe through it and then it relaxes. Sometimes it just doesn't. You're gonna see on your own example, and some of you are already seeing it, the ones who are using such tool as well, you're gonna see how it is in your personal case from day to day. And this breathing is not like a job. It doesn't have to be like a requirement or some pressure you put on yourself. You could see it as the act of self-love, as the act of compassion, because the world has enough people who use power. The world is looking for people who shine compassion and acceptance, which doesn't mean that you violate your boundaries. Let me be clear. That doesn't mean that you're letting people steal your energy or treat you unfairly or in an abusive way. You can clear out all these old energies with your consciousness, with your presence. It's gonna happen sooner or later. If you choose to be who you truly are, and if you're watching this show, you came in touch with this material with certain purpose. There are no accidents. There are no coincidences. Your own energy brought you here. We are simply the mirror of your choice on a certain level. Maybe your mind was not aware of it before you came here, or it was for some of you. Wonderful. It doesn't matter, because you are many. You see, it's connected. You are many expressions. And I just feel like taking one more breath, so we kind of relax. And you're invited to simply forget about everything and simply be present here, because also the energy is very supportive of that. So just that I finish with distraction part that I started mentioning before. Distraction can be many things. You can go out for a walk. You can start listening to music. You can go and do some sports. You can have a chat with a lovely friend. You can go and watch funny TV series, for instance, or eat something, or cook something, or dance. Simply get yourself out of the mind by not forcing yourself. Because if you say, mind, I want to get out of you, it usually pressures back even stronger. So it's usually the act of consciousness, act of yourself that gets you out, so to speak, of very unpleasant emotions that are feeding in your energy field. And compassion is then deeper and deeper from moment to moment, simply accepting all that you are. And by accepting all that you are, you open to abundance, beauty, creativity, your light, and the most amazing standard for yourself, all of humanity, and the whole universe. So Leah, after this passionate address, you're welcome to continue.
What else do I say now? Okay. Yeah, when we were talking about the breath and compassion, I remember that last week, I've had an experience that I was kind of feeling not lost, but a little bit out of my presence, out of my center, so to speak. And I was like, what do I do? I have to calm my soul. I have to, and then it's like, just breathe, take a deep breath. And oh, yes, a deep breath. And then I did that. And oh, the presence, how fast it comes. For me, it's been very, very easy. Even if I'm in the middle of mass consciousness and everything seems to be very like a haze. That cannot see people and not truly
Okay,
know
just
what
a
is yours.
second. Sorry,
When
Leah.
I
I will jump in for a second because
okay,
your audio broke for like
okay,
15 seconds, and I will ask you to repeat the last
that's
minute
a lot of
you shared.
time.
All right.
Yeah, but it's very interesting that it broke because I was just talking about mist and haze, and when you cannot see things really well, so if we couldn't listen really well, so it's very connected because I was just talking about that,
It
and
was
then it.
actually it was actually in a way the representation through the
Mm-hmm.
video and through the
Yeah.
audio what happens when we are in the middle of that kind of energies that Leah shared
Mm-hmm.
before. So yeah, beautiful. You could see the example now. It kind of blocks everything. It's blurry, foggy, and it's kind of hard to find
Mm-hmm.
clarity back. But then we just relax. And maybe let's do it before Leah continues. Let's just
Okay.
take 10, 15 seconds and let's just breathe also with technology. Because let's be clear, consciousness can also affect the balance in technology. And we breathe in compassion, we breathe in presence, and we breathe out everything that we feel like it's not serving our highest good anymore. We don't have to judge it, we don't have to force it. It's already happening, beloved friends. I'm simply explaining also for the minds that we understand also from human perspective a little bit what's going on, although so much more is energetically going on while we are opening up into our real selves.
Mm-hmm.
One or two more breaths. And the breath is the tangible representation. Soul breath is a tangible tool and representation of allowing compassion. That's why we're talking so much about it today. And now I will invite Leah to continue where
Yes.
audio finished the last time.
Yeah, so I was saying that I was just feeling like being lost, so to speak, and then I was like, I know that I can never be lost again, and I know that all is well, because there is this sentence, when you know that all is well, then you don't need more answers. You don't need anything because all is well. So that is one thing that I come back to, that all is well, that I can relax, and that I don't need to do something to be in my presence again. I don't need to force my presence or to seek for my presence. I am here. It's that simple. I am here. All is well. And then all of those problems, because they seem to be problems, but then I was just okay with every situation, and I knew that everything would resolve, would go to its place, and that I wouldn't need to resolve anything with the human trying to do the things, but just being in my presence and allowing the flow of life. That's something I've been experienced the last months, and it's been crazy because it's everything I thought. Um, it's completely different from everything I thought, and it's been fun, very fun.
Yes, these personal stories are showing us how it's happening in our everyday life then, because it's something to listen to the talk and feel into the energy of compassion for half an hour. But then another thing is to allow it into your life, in your tangible everyday situations that you're going through. And like Leah shared, it's not always the way our mind and the human want it to be. Sometimes it's different because our expanded, limitless self, your brilliant self, which is also part of you. And let me be clear, also human self is brilliant self. I'm just reminding you all, and also energetically, not just with words, that there is this incredible expanded self that doesn't have such limitations. And if you have the trust that each and every situation in your life, no matter what it is, I'm going to say it once again, because I really, really want to point this out. Each and every situation with each and every person or with yourself, society, whatever, is perfect exactly as it is. That's the way you set yourself free. It doesn't mean that it couldn't have happened differently in the more enjoyable way for your human side. It doesn't mean that some conversations, some interactions, some events couldn't be much more pleasant. And it also depends on other people, because it's not just you in interactions with others and situations. We are on earth in the middle of very deep agreement that we are playing in such dimension together. And when you are shifting out of it, but still staying here, you know, that can cause you some challenges. And I said it very politely. It can be very tough. And for me, it was. And I'm still allowing it to soften, to be accepted all as it is. Because there's one saying that I'm going to share now, and it might serve a lot of you in the years to come. Those of you who are just coming in touch with awakening, those of you who are passionate about it, and those of you who are like advanced passionate about it. If I joke a little bit, there are no levels, but to make it more fun, when there's nothing left, there is always the absolute acceptance of situation. And this can be an ultimate help, an ultimate guideline forever and ever. Because when you don't try to change the situation anymore, no matter what your emotions are saying to you, that you did something wrong or that someone else did something wrong, like I said at the beginning, it doesn't mean you have to like the situation. It doesn't mean you have to be excited about it, or that you're even willing to ever interact with some people again. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, it doesn't matter so much. But it is for the sake of your own peace and freedom that you allow the compassion, which means the acceptance of everything exactly as it is. And when you energetically allow the compassion, it means that you also offer the situation the option to change. Because once it's accepted, then the shift and change can come so much easier.
Yes, I also want to add something that most people, some people are familiar with the Crimson Circle and with Adamus Saint-Germain, and he has a very famous sentence that is, some people see it as a little bit aggressive, but if you look at it with the eyes of compassion, it can change your perspective, because he says, like, if there is something in your life, is because you like it, you know. And then what it causes is that you feel guilty because you like that. You feel ashamed because you like that situation. When who likes it? Is your true self that likes it? You know, is your true self that is enjoying that? Or is some aspect of you, some parts of you that are still enjoying to play those games? And can you be compassionate to those parts and say, it's all right if you still like it? It's all right if you still are playing those games, because it's been years of belief systems and mind conditioning and lifetimes and lifetimes of playing those kind of things. So when I changed my perspective, because many times I heard that sentence and I wasn't able to feel compassion, and I judged myself and I felt really bad, and it didn't really help me to release things and to change things. So when I could change the perspective and see like, okay, it's all right if I still like to play that, then I suddenly didn't like to play that anymore, because I accept that, and then it just disappeared. As I saw how it was not serving, but in a very subtle way. I just accepted, and it could resolve itself, like find resolution by itself with the compassionate acceptance.
So if we kind of sum it up, it's about admitting to yourself that there's a certain energetic dynamics going on, and that you are the creator of it, although you might not like it. Oh, I love that sentence. Really, really great, greatly expressed. I'm gonna have some fun now, because I love to have fun when it comes to such expressions and consciousness. I was many times in the past years always saying, let's just go, let's just go. And that's also something that we mentioned in the first show. Let's just shift out of something. Yeah, I see these stories, that's not me. These limiting stories, maybe lack, maybe pain, maybe relationship issues, whatever it is. Looks and self-trust. We can talk about so many things. Maybe we can dedicate one show to the list of the issues that you can have on earth, and I and Leah will probably be just reading for the whole show, just the list.
Yeah.
There will be no time for explanation because there's so much. However, if we play with this a little bit, because I said I'm also going to be sharing a lot about my way, my perception of graceful enlightenment, or let me call it this way, because there are many different people watching this show, listening to it, and will be in the future also. It's not necessary you call it enlightenment. We can put it in very simple terms. It's simply remembering who you truly are beyond your limits. That can be exactly the same as the word enlightenment, because it sounds so mystical, not achievable to almost anyone. Only some great gurus in mountains could come to such stuff, or some monks. Not at all. I am the living example. Leah is. We are still having to deal with our human part, which is one expression of our multidimensional being. But we are in the awareness of our enlightenment, or in the energetic awareness of who we truly are. This awareness also deepens as you continue your journey. And of course, you got the choice. You got the choice. Do you want to be on earth while you fully remember your expanded, limitless self? Or do you don't want to be? You see, there's not right or wrong answer. I will not again go deeper into this topic now. I just wanted to mention it and to allow also compassion for such part. It's all right. And let me have fun now, because Leah mentioned before some sentences from Saint Germain, who's my friend from a long time before. And I love to have fun, because let me be very, very clear. It is a provocative statement being used there to get people out of the stuck energies or some routines or that kind of expressions. And we should be aware, that's my opinion, in what way some expression is made. Because if someone just says something and then you feel even more judgment towards yourself, I don't feel like that's exactly the most pleasant and graceful way for a certain being. So let's be very, very, very clear. You find your own way. There are as many journeys to freedom as there are beings, but only one, and only one, is going to really set you free, your own. You can, of course, use all of these different expressions, conscious mirrors, beautiful coaches, facilitators, as wonderful support. But you know that you know. You know that you know, and now you were reminded. Also, by feeling into this show, you were reminded about compassion, about self-love, about acceptance. So, Leah, we've reached the last minutes of the show, so I'm gonna invite you to say goodbye and a few last words.
Yes, it is a beautiful show, and with all that we've covered, we've talked a lot about compassion in many ways, how it can serve to accept the situation of the planet and the things in yourself, and how breathing can help. And if breathing doesn't help, you can have some distractions to get out of your mind. So I think there are very practical tools, and of course, the energy of compassion that is shining from us, from me, from Julian, to everyone, and also the energy of compassion from every being that connects with this is added to this show. So it's a magical creation, and I'm very, very grateful to be part of it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Leah, for your final words today. I will just add, like I always love to remind everyone, no matter what you went through, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you will go through, you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are divine. You deserve all the best things that life has to offer. Please remember that. You are so special, you're so unique, and compassion is part of your essence when you allow yourself to remember and open up to it. And it's a continual process of really loving yourself. Thank you very much, everyone.